Got drinks, got smoke, got weed, got all the girls, got everything we need. And I see them all, but who brought the fat girl? Drink another, smoke another, get retarded. I know this where the party is, so get this bitch started. And if you want some liquor, girl, you can go and lick a girl. Get in it, pop till like 6 in the morning. Come break it down.
We're on. This thing on.
This thing on.
Yo, yo.
Yo.
Mic
Happy
check.
Easter. Happy Easter.
420. Happy 420 to all the smokers out there. All the smokers and all you religious fiends out there.
Both fiends. There's all kinds of fiends.
Ooh, what kinds of fiends?
Religious fiends, sex fiends,
Gambling fiends.
weed fiends. Definitely
right.
fiends.
It's a fiendy world, bro.
Yeah, hell yeah. If like and the rule of thumb is, I learned this from in construction. They said when you stop living, you stop living. Because my friend was trying to quit smoking weed. He's like,
really?
See, when you stop living, you stop living. You know, when you stop smoking something, you die. You know, typically when people have smoke cigarettes all their entire lives and they stop, then they get the cancer.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
They actually told that to my ex, her grandpa. They said that actually if he were to stop smoking, like he would probably die because his body, guys, was like so used to it.
Yeah.
So he'd smoked like since he was like 12. He was already like 80, I think 89 or something like that.
Damn.
Yeah, like
12, huh?
they tell him, hey, keep on smoking, keep on toking.
Crazy
Keep on
thing is, he
smoking
probably
out.
had a job at the time.
Yeah.
He's probably already working.
Oh yes, child labor. They're probably working like at, I think, like at 6 years
The
old,
fields,
something?
no?
6 or 7.
The field.
Yeah, or even remember like back day in like in the old steel
In the
mill
mines?
days, you know, you see the little
Yeah,
pictures.
steel mills.
Yeah, they were probably
Yeah.
like 6 years
The,
old.
the kids are all dirty.
Yeah, dirty, fucking lungs all full of coal and shit. Damn, some rough times.
Hey, what's up? You guys had any plans today for
Happy Easter.
the Easter?
No.
Because I don't know, nobody did anything over here. No eggs, no
It's like-
nothing.
Fucking.
It's
I
like
looked
they're
around, see if
eating,
there's any eggs. And my tia put some.
Were they?
Nothing,
Whose
dude.
eggs were they? Wow.
Yesterday, what did I was saying yesterday? I told her, well, they were gonna go to Costco, and I said, nah, hey, it's Easter Sunday. She's like, nah, I don't even go to church. And just another
Gee.
day.
I mean, she's
Just
being
another
honest,
day.
you know. Yeah, she keeps it real.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
She don't
Yeah,
mess
yeah.
around.
100.
She
Hey, because
ain't
there's
that
like,
religious
hey,
type.
you know those days in church, everybody pulls up. Spring.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
man, I ain't seen you all year, bro.
For
I
real,
just
they-
since
they
it's
pull
Christmas.
out, you know,
I ain't seen you
usually
since
hungover.
Christmas.
They just pull up
Same
hungover.
thing. It's the same thing during Christmas too. No.
Yeah,
They
hell
show
yeah.
up for all the Christmas plays.
Fucking
It's like,
popping.
man, don't fake
It's
it.
lit.
It's like, do you think it's the sign of our times? You know, because I mean now, but when I was growing up, you know, when we were growing up, or you know whatnot, the holidays they were valued more. We had like more fun. Now it's more. I don't know. Everybody has their own cliques. You know, it's just not the same. Especially now with
Well-
all the crap that's happening. Like even people in general, they don't.
The teacher asked us a show of hands who had a faith or who went to church or who believed in who was not religious but who went to church or who participated in well, yeah I guess church, and probably like 10%, like couple people raised their hands, and he said, damn, see, when I was going to school, I'm sure in your time, because he's about your age, Ivan, he was like, there was a lot of people in church, and there was a lot of people, like a show of hands was a lot more. So I think a lot of people are just becoming less involved in those kinds of things, especially with all those mega churches and stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
I think they're still religious. They're just not into the church thing.
Yeah,
And
dude.
I could sense that. Like Dom this morning was watching the church thing for Easter on TV. She's like, "You want to watch it? You want me to put it in the living room?" And I'm like, "Nah, not really." I'm like, "Is it one of those mega churches?" She's like, "Yeah, it's pretty big." I'm like, "Nah, man, I don't know. I don't. I think it's too much show and not enough God. You know, it's too
Yeah.
much. It's
Well,
like when you start
it's not
building stuff like
spiritual.
that.
It's not spiritual, you know what I mean? I believe, you know, that you can be spiritual without having a religion per se, or you can not, or you can base your life based off the principles of the Bible, for example, and then just live like that.
You know, and there's-
but you don't have to be a religious person. You believe those principles. You know what I mean?
when you find out, I guess that the idea that Jesus Christ was trying to bring is that God is in every single one of you, you know. Yes, the church. Yes, the church. Because I'm people forget that Jesus Christ wasn't. He was a radical person, and if
Yeah.
he was speaking against the government at the time, you know, and speaking against the Jews that were kind of taking advantage of the church, selling things at the church, you know, doing business at the church when that's not where
Yeah.
you're supposed to do business. You know, there's a
Yeah.
verse in the Bible. He says he goes in there and flips the tables. I'm not sure if he flips the tables, but he does something radical like that. And he says, "What are you
Yeah.
guys doing? You know, this is a place of worship." People forget that part. People forget that he was hanging out. He was hanging around with prostitutes. He was hanging around with poor people. He wasn't
Yeah.
hanging around with people who had money. He wasn't hanging around with. So I think people leave that out, you know, and try to make this a club, you know, a club thing. And I think that
Yeah.
pushes people away, you know, because Jesus Christ was like, even the meek, like even the people who have leprosy that nobody wanted to touch, you know,
Yeah.
even those people are blessed, you know, even the gay dudes over there, man, they're blessed, you know.
Yeah.
But
If the
you mention a gay guy to some of these people that are involved, and they're like, oh, they deserve to go to hell, they deserve to die, and it's like, damn, bro, like, damn, dude,
instead of
for
trying to help
someone,
them.
yeah, dude, it's a lot of hate in the heart, and I think that's what pushes a lot of people away from churches or the church now, you know, because it's like modernized. I don't
Yeah.
know, it's a lot more modernized, you know,
Yeah, they got
like
the
okay,
cameras too, making it live,
yeah,
which is
No, no,
good. I
I
mean,
think.
you get to. Oh,
Yeah,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
You know, like
No.
the fact that also, if you look at when you said like the church, the mega church, that's what that Danny was talking about, where people go and they use it as a business as opposed to, not all of them, but a lot of them. There's been some that have been caught, using it as business. They live in mega mansions and stuff. I think even one of them, I think was it Joel Osteen. He didn't want to give sanctuary to the hurricane victims or some victims from
mm-hmm. Yeah,
some
yeah,
Yeah.
disaster, right? So yeah, so
mm-hmm.
that's why people turn away from religion because they don't show it. Well, the people, it's like I said, it's different. People who are spiritual and religious, obviously, they care about they're empathetic, sympathetic to other people. They want to help others, but others who are not. Just like in anything, there's rotten people. So, but yeah,
There's
it's
well, okay, when Californians, the Californians that were here when it was the Mexican times, when Mexico owned this place, right?
Mhm.
There was a lot of
Mhm.
Mexicans living here after it became the United States. There was a lot of churches because the Spanish were here, right? And so people started living along the churches and eventually switched over to Christianity and started practicing it. Well, the government wanted to build a railroad, a Pacific Union, is it
Mhm.
Pacific Union
Yeah.
Coast or something like that?
Yeah.
The railroad company wanted to build, right? And so there was a lot of indigenous people that would attack the places that were building because they weren't trying to trade with them because they weren't from the area, but the Indians and the Mexicans, the natives, were talking. And so when they started building the railroads and they were going to war with these companies because they would hire Chinese people because they didn't want they were cheap labor, and Irish people, and the Mexicans that were living here, the Californios, they would just work from a certain time to a certain time, and they would take their breaks and they would sleep. So that's where the stereotype comes from that Mexicans were lazy, is because they weren't working full hours because
Mm.
they weren't working for more than what they had. They already had
Oh,
their
is that
little
right?
houses. They had their little houses. They had their corn in the back, and that was it. They just liked silver. They didn't have anything more. They didn't want anything more than that. So they were like, "Well, I'm not gonna work. You know, why am I gonna work all day? I don't need to. I'm from the
Mhm.
area. You know, these
Right.
people are coming. They're immigrants, and they're trying to make money, and they're trying to live their life. You know, and so the church eventually turned their back on them and didn't help them during the time that they were killing them because they were going
Mm.
at war with these railroad companies getting built in the area.
Yeah.
And these
Mm.
were a lot of the times they were coming through areas that belonged to natives. So they're in terms using a business, and the business was hiring Pacific Coast Union, or the company was hiring their own personal militia
Yeah.
Mm. The
to
more
go to
you
war.
know, huh?
Yeah. So then
Yeah.
the church turned their back on them. They're like, "Hey, y'all come to church every Sunday, but that doesn't mean we're going to protect you from the law of what you're doing. We're part of the church, and obviously, well, the church was siding with the government."
Right. Damn, I'm
So,
telling you, that
there's a lot
church.
of
That's not
instances
good.
like that. There's a lot of
Mhm.
instances like that where they turn their back on the people and stuff. But there,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good churches. There's a lot of good
There
churches,
is.
and
But it's crazy how people
Yeah, I'm
use,
sure there is.
they use religion or whatnot to commit atrocities or do bad
Yeah.
stuff. A lot of good stuff, definitely, but there's that opposite side of it, which which is not always that pretty.
yeah.
Yeah, I got a bad connotation with Easter.
Why?
'Cause, remember that earthquake?
Oh,
That's the only
yeah,
Easter.
dude.
That's
That was
the-
at church,
yeah.
bro.
That's the only Easter I remember. we
Oh,
were
really?
we were at Oscar's house and we were like drinking all night. I don't know. That was in my days when I was in a bad path. But we were drinking all
You were
night,
young.
and yeah, we were drinking all night until the morning, and then took little naps, 3-hour naps, and then they woke up and they were drinking again and barbecuing, and it was Easter. So I was like, okay, I get my migraine, so I was like, I'm a little hungover still. I'm gonna go upstairs and take a nap. So I went upstairs, take a nap. Everybody's in the bottom, partying, grilling. All of a sudden, the fucking shit starts shaking, dude, and I'm like, oh crap! So it woke me up. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I look around and I look out the window and I see everybody running outside because I'm on the second floor. Everybody's running outside. I'm like, damn, these fools just left me. I'm gonna go out crudo in a fucking earthquake.
So then snoozing.
So I try to head to the door, but this one had a big ass dresser and it fucking fell in front of the door. And I'm like, oh hell no, I'm doomed now. Fuck yeah, the dresser fell in front of the door. So I'm trying to move the dresser. It's a big ass fucking dresser.
Come on,
And I'm
use your
trying to
muscle,
move it.
bro.
I'm like desperate mode, when you start going to panic mode and shit, you're like, fuck. So you're using everything you can. I crack the door open. I look outside and I see Andres running up the stairs. He's the only one that came back in and shit. He's like, Albert, let's go. We gotta go. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, we gotta go. I can't, fool. You see me?
I'm like, I fucking can't, dude. The door's blocked. But finally, I fucking moved it and I run down the stairs with him and I go outside. Everybody's just standing there. Oh, how are you? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, fuck sticks. You fucking left me up there.
Andres was the okay, huh? That fucking clouds collapsed.
Yeah. And then there's the little aftershocks after and shit. But everything was cool. It wasn't big enough to take the house down or anything. But
dude, well, it just depends where you're at, dude, because that's enough to destroy look at Mexicali, dude.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Mexicali got fucked up by it, but because of their structures, I mean, the houses are already made for that. So
yeah.
then
What was it
that's
like?
not
I
great
think it was like a
building over there.
7.5. No,
yeah,
Yeah,
the
it was
wood shakes with the
7.2?
house.
something around there.
Mhm.
7.2,
7.2.
7.5.
Yeah,
I was at
they just had
church.
one. You were at church.
Yeah, I was at church and it was me and my mom and we were sitting down, and then it just starts fucking shaking and I start laughing out of nervousness. I'm just laughing because I was like, what the fuck? Because I'm also witnessing fucking, how crazy older people, the ladies are getting crazy. And they're all yelling and running. Everybody was running.
The Lord is coming. The Lord
Because of Jesus or because of the earthquake?
Hold on. Yeah, dude. They were like, shit, I ain't taking any chances, but I fucking called my kid an asshole in the morning.
I apologize. Huh?
But it was shaking, and then my mom told me to get towards the wall because there was just too much people running. So we get against the wall, and there was this one dude.
That's bad.
I remember
advice, huh? It's the
I know. You're supposed to
Get
go
against
to
the
the
wall.
largest door. What the fuck?
yeah.
I don't know. And she was like, in case it falls, it go in the center, and we'll just be. I don't know. But I said, yeah, let's do it. I'm
You
fucking
said, yeah, let's do
9
it.
or whatever.
You trusted in her. There you go.
yeah. And so we were standing there, and there was a guy of praising God. He was like, hell yeah. He's like, take me out now, bro. I'm put out fraudulent charges. Got
Yeah, you got some bad dad, huh? Fucking hell yeah.
yeah. He was like, end it now.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, sí, señor. He's yelling, dude, and the earthquake just going. I'm just watching this guy. He's the only
Sí,
one right there. He's
señor.
like,
What the fuck?
crazy. Yeah. He was like, hell yeah. And then finally, I guess the aftershocks, we felt the aftershocks after everything was done, and we walked outside, and I remember out of all the fucking fear, I kind of laughed a little bit because there was this kid who had fell, dude. Pinche chichon, dude. I've never seen that fucking big in my life. In my life, I've ever seen anything that fucking huge, dude. That shit was a whole boob, dude. A C
Melatoma?
cup, man. Hell yeah. I was
The
like,
left hook.
damn. Damn, dude.
Why is it always
But
funny when little kids fall, huh? It's always fucking funny. I mean, obviously they
look like fucking Looney Tunes.
Right?
Look like Looney Tunes.
freaking.
Me, I went. Well,
Where
when
were
that
you at?
happened, I was at I was in a barbecue in Hopeville, and we were in the backyard, and I just saw they had an F-250 in the backyard, and I just saw it like bouncing. It was literally like bouncing off the floor. Like it would bounce probably about 3 inches off the floor. Like I shit you not. It was pretty high. It looked like it looked cartoonish almost. It's like what the fuck? And then well, obviously we're all in the back, so there was nothing. You know, it was pretty flat, so we were all pretty safe. So we just hung out there until it ran its course or whatever. But then at night, it was funny because there was an aftershock, and I was the first one at the door. I said, "No, no women, no kids for me." I was the first one. I bolted so fast. I was like, and I turned around. I was like, "Oh shit!" I forgot everybody inside. So and yeah, they made fun of me for it.
You busted a George Costanza or what?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, man, I'm
you know.
invited.
Yeah.
This just ain't my house.
They ain't
Nah,
inviting
but-
you no more.
For real. Man. They just had I just had one in Julian, right? An earthquake in Julian.
Yeah,
Was
little one,
this
though.
past week? It was a little one. I didn't, my dad. Oh, my dad right away. He's Mr. Mr.
He's
hit the
tapped in
panic
with the
button all the
seismic.
time. Yeah, he was like,
stepped in with the seismic people, the
He hit me
people that
up, he was
measuring.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, you about the earthquake?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm okay. I'm in Eureka." He's like, "Nah, not you. Your in-laws." I was like, "Oh shit!" And I thought about it. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right." But they were fine. But he right away
It'll
hit
be
me
all
up.
right.
I'm surprised I didn't get like a little
Be all right.
seismograph, on my text and shit, showing the
Oh,
damage that it did from my desk.
actually, we did. Actually, we did, but it was like 5 seconds before it went off, and then it started shaking. And it was the first time that they used it too. So
Oh, yeah?
it was pretty. It sent out a little, ring enough to where you were like, "Oh, what's going on?" It alerts you.
Yeah.
And then I
5
kinda
seconds
felt it. I was like,
before, though?
okay, cool.
Couldn't it be like 10 seconds before or 20 seconds?
I don't even think. I think it's they're not relatively. You can't predict
Nah,
them
nah.
too much.
It's just hey, te vas a morir. You might die.
yeah, straight up.
Be prepared.
It's just one of those things. It's just one of those days.
Right?
I thought you could predict them. Well, not
Earthquakes?
predict them, but you can see signs that the
Oh,
Earth is
they're
going to
coming?
shift or something. No,
I'm not really tapped in with the science, but I
We need to get
from what I know,
we get one of those
from
dudes
what
on
I
the
know,
podcast,
like
bro.
a seismic folk, seismic measure, seismologist. There you go.
Any seismologists want to come on the show? Hit us up.
Shit,
I don't
dude.
think we know any. Shit.
Yeah,
No.
dude. I don't even
Gotta
think
be some.
probably
Gotta be-
1%ers. The
We're in the fucking
1%ers.
San Andreas Fault and shit. There gotta be somebody out here, at least part time.
That's true. There's got to be
somebody on Indeed.
there's
Somebody that's-
probably
Yeah, at
Shout out
least
to
somebody
Indeed.
that's studying it. At least
seismic.
that would help. What is he
Speaking
doing?
of Indeed, shout out to Indeed.com. I got an interview with some folks out there in Vegas for training. Actually, the kind of training that I do myself, pretty much. I'm pretty close to it.
Oh, where at?
So it's called D1 Training. It's a facility, sports
Oh,
facility.
that's the one that you shared with me. That's the one that you
Yeah,
shared
that's the one
with
that I shared. They help little kids
okay.
and adults and athletes too. So they work with all kinds of people, and I mean, hey, you never know, it might open doors
Oh,
to
hell.
some other things. So
me. Oh, hell yeah,
That's
that's
good.
cool. You just shared the picture. I was like, what is this fool talking about? You didn't say like, oh.
no, it's because
You just shared it. And I was like, new gym.
No, when I shared it, I put on the bottom of it, I have an interview, but it looked like it's part of the actual it's the website itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's
okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't. Yeah, it looks a little weird. I did. Sorry about that. But yeah,
and so you getting a job there?
no, I'm getting an interview. It sounded pretty good
Okay,
though.
okay,
I mean,
okay.
it's right up my alley to
Okay.
what
Yeah.
the way I train, the way I focus my daily life. So it's
Yeah.
good, really good prospect. Something that I really would
Okay.
like to do and learn. And so
Yeah, like working with athletes, young athletes. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, especially little kids, growing up, so shift them the
Yeah,
right
I was
way.
gonna
so
tell you
learn
this-
the right methods. So
I was gonna tell you to send me a meal plan because I'm getting a little thick over here, dude.
come on, let's
Oh,
get
yeah?
together, my brother. You gotta stay
Yeah.
consistent. You gotta keep training,
I
even
know.
when you don't want to. I know it's a pain in the ass, but
Yeah.
at the end of the
Even when
day,
don't want to.
it's hard. But that's why a lot of people don't do it. That's why a lot of people don't go. They don't go train because it's fucking hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's well worth it. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. No.
Because I was doing the morning thing for a while, but then I was like, fuck, man, I hate waking up early. Like it's the
Then don't
worst.
train.
Once you're up, you're,
Sadly, then
Yeah.
don't train in the morning, bro. You have to train because that's why I don't do it. I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
Not everybody is. And
Yeah.
and why why put that on yourself? Why make it harder for yourself when it's already hard? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just if you have to go in the evening, I know you might have to shift some things around. You know, it might upset the wifey a little bit. You know, here and there, but you know, just it's all a team effort. You know, if she knows what's up.
No,
So
and then and then my thing is, so I tried the night thing, and it was going good for a while, but
Okay.
then then it kind of gets like you use the excuse like, I just got off work, I just want to go
Yeah.
home, sit on the couch, and then you sit here for a little bit, then you're like, I'll do it tomorrow.
then
That
don't
fucking
go home,
tomorrow
bro.
thing.
Yeah.
Take your
And then,
what I used to do.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't
That's
have a
true.
choice really. When I was working in San Diego, when I was working construction out there, when I stayed with my in-laws in Campo, I still had to drive an hour and a half or an hour and 15. So I had my stuff with me, and I had membership at Crunch, great gym by the way.
yeah,
And they I would go every day after work, just go, but I wouldn't go. Obviously, I couldn't go home because I couldn't go to Campo and go back. So I would just go, take my shit, take a shit, and then get ready for drink my pre-workout as soon as I
Hell
leave
yeah.
work. And then by the time I get there, I take care of business, and then I leave
Fucking
home.
ready
By
to
the
go.
time get ready to go, by the time I'm home, I'm cooled off. I get to eat, take a shower, and that was pretty much the routine. But because when you get home, I can do that now. I'm at that level where I can go get home, chill for a little bit, and go. But some people, it's harder for them to get home, to get cozy, and take off your shoes. It's tough, but just get up.
Yeah, I think now that you mentioned that, my best times working out were when I did the same thing as you. When I worked in Vista in San Diego. I worked in Vista, and it was a 45-minute drive home. So I would stop at the gym on the way home in San Marcos. That was like 10 minutes from Vista. I would take my clothes with me. I would change. I would go to the gym, and then I still had a 30-minute drive all the way home. And then when I got home, I would shower and eat or whatever.
Well, that's perfect. See, and then by the time you get home, your body's cooled down. Like, it sucks when you get home and you're like, you're in a hurry to take a shower, and you take a shower and you get out, you're still fucking sweating. You're like, fuck, and your body hasn't cooled down yet. So that's also a good thing from that. And it just makes it easier. You know what I mean? So you have to go home and deal with all that stuff. But maybe now I would rather, if I had the equipment, I'd rather train at home. Before I was a person like, no, I didn't have the motivation, whatever you want to call it. Or the discipline to do it, but now I'd rather do it because just more of the fact that it depends on the gym where you go to, because some of the times the gym etiquette is not up to par, and I've gotten a little couple confrontations here and there, but nah, I keep it cool. But no, but you have to try to make it as easy as possible, and even when it comes to meals, like eat stuff that you like. If you don't like fucking salads, don't eat salads, bro. You know what I mean? Why?
Yeah, dude. Don't stress
do
yourself
that to yourself. If you're a steak guy, fucking eat steaks. Obviously, you have to find a way to balance that out. But mostly it's about protein intake, but you can't. The problem I have, a big problem, I can't eat all my protein. I'm supplementing it by drinking it because it's just too much food. At least for me, some people can fucking inhale food like a motherfucker. And that's good for them, but sometimes you just can't do that, and that's how I supplement for my at least for my protein. For right now, I am eating more little by little, which is always better to do. To eat better food instead of just drinking something.
Yeah. So what's the end goal with what you want to do? Because I know that the title sounds different than training. What are you studying to be? What's the word?
Dietitian.
Right. It's registered dietitian. So basically, you know how there's basically there's like a registered nurse. So it's kind of the same thing, but basically they focus on your actual, the food that your intake that you eat. Some folks have people with diabetes, they have certain stuff that they can't eat, some stuff that they can't eat. Older people, younger people as well, little kids. So basically off of that spectrum, I'm basing it off of that, but more my focus, what I would truly like to do. I was just thinking about this the other day. What I truly like to do is using training to better your life each and every day, like to help you with that self-confidence, to help you, to if you're going through, especially if you're going through mental issues, to help you deal with those mental issues that you're going through. As it's helped me, it's not only helped my, not that I'm saying that I have mental issues, but I've had some difficulties or whatever. It's really helped me just to open my eyes and be more open-minded to especially to other folks when I go train, I don't know what they're going through. They might be going through the same thing, and that it's helped me very much. And I know it helped Danny. Literally when he got out, came back from Florida, I taught him. And he was, and the great thing, he was very receptive, to changing his life, and he's changed his life. He's gone to the gym. I've given him basically, the basic things that he needs to do, and it's up to him now, and he's done it. He's ran with it. There's been other people that have asked me for advice, and then they don't take it because they don't. It's change. Yeah. It's a true change in your life. It's a true change. You're gonna lose friends. You're gonna, people are gonna stop hanging out with you, especially because of the whole drinking thing. When you stop drinking, because pretty much it's everywhere. Alcohol's praised, and it's a fucking poison, but it's praised. Don't get me wrong. I like my little drinks here and there, but it's more of a thing of that. But going back to that, I want to just call it sports medicine, but actually medicine, to be actual medicine for the soul, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That makes sense. Yeah, I just got confused with the registered dietitian, and I know you wanted to train people, so I was like, "Oh, what's
because obviously it's because when it comes to let me explain that. When it comes to personal training, you're not technically, like, people can ask you, what do you eat? And I'm like, meat and berries, but you're not really supposed to say, hey, you should be eating this, because you're not a registered dietitian. You know what I mean?
Oh,
because if you offer them something, if you tell them, hey, eat this to get bigger muscles or whatever, and something bad happens to them, you can get sued. So that's why. But if you're a registered dietitian, you can recommend. Obviously you're not gonna do bad or recommend bad things to bad people. No, it's it's basically the title of so you can offer. You can ask me, what do you eat? Meat and berries, but I can't tell you to eat meat and berries. You have to.
It's like if you were to tell me, how do you get better in your head? Mm-hmm. Well, listen, if I give you advice, it's not gonna work the same way as you. So I gotta go study how it all affects your brain, so that maybe I could give some kind of better advice that's more catered to you after I've studied the area more.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because everybody has a different diet. Everybody runs off different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. So this job you apply for is basically helping kids and stuff like that, in that nature.
It's helping them more on it's helping them it's more like just for sports in general, like whether they're becoming baseball players. It's more just for athletics. It's
get better at working out, right?
Because get better at working out, right? Doing a proper like running techniques, squats, things of that nature. Yeah.
You have your basic sports, which your coach teaches you, but then you have to do something more than that, so you could continue either weightlifting, or so you could help your batting. Say you're kicking a soccer ball all fucking day, so you want those fucking crazy legs. You go somewhere else to kind of get you another kind of training, because they can only get you so much soccer training.
Yeah, it's like like if you're going if you're playing high school football, right? And they want, they train you there, but they don't always get that one-on-one. It's more of that one-on-one that you need. Obviously, it's extra than just, because obviously paying for, when you go train at the high school, it's for free. But you pay it, and it's more of one-on-one sessions, to get you that. If you want to cut right,
supplement, right?
So it's for every sport.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That sounds exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah, it is.
I hope you do get it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So, and then to start going beyond, kind of searching beyond the different kinds of workouts, not just resistance training, but all the balancing training and stuff like that. Because there's other dimensions of working out.
Oh yeah, it's all kinds. Kettlebells and those big heavy bags, sleds, like a bunch of different stuff. Not just weight.
It's just like cooking. Cooking, it's like there's a certain kind of cooking. There's Mexican cooking. They cook their certain styles, and there's French cooking, and eventually you can get all the types of different cookings and make your own recipe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Daniel, what you been up to?
Right now I'm doing this big project, a correlational study with the anxiety and social media use. So I'm just running the Excel sheet so that I could put all these numbers and see if there's a relationship between increased social media use equals more anxiety, which we already know that. You don't need me to run a fucking study.
Yeah,
but
are the results like Are the results like what you expected, or are they worse? Or
Well, right now I'm getting all my data organized because
okay,
let's say I have 100 people. Well, I have to go through each and every one of those surveys and add the scores because each survey is made in a certain way because you have variables that exist, right?
hmm,
So if a variable is when you're doing a study, let's say I'm trying to measure someone how fast they go, right? And I
yeah,
get them to go to point A to point B. Well, am I doing it inside? Am I doing it outside? Am I doing every single person outside? Am I doing one person inside? Now, if I'm doing everybody outside, would it change the outcome of that person if it was a sunny day, if it was raining, if it was windy?
okay, yeah,
Because there's all sorts of variables that come into studies. So, how do you know that your study is actually measuring what you're
excuse me.
trying to discover? And that's called validity, is how valid your study is. So, I
Mm.
need to watch out for these things. And so, that's why surveys get created in a certain way. Because even if you present the questions in a certain order, that might have a variable
Mm.
that might give another variable. It's called a confounding variable. And so basically, this class is just to see the entire outline of what it is when you do these studies. And then I have to write like it's called the APA paper. It's the American Psychology Association, and they have a way to write papers so that you can present your information to the scientific world and everybody can read it. And
So
it, the
is that why a bunch of these surveys are nonsense, because they don't go out of their
yes,
way to do all these different
exactly.
scenarios? They just kind of
Yes,
pick one and that's it, and then here's the
yes.
answer. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And companies pay for them to do the study a certain way so that they're able to lie to you and
Yeah.
say
That's for
that
their
this
own
product.
personal gain, though, huh?
Yes. And so
Hmm.
that's what they're basically teaching us. And you could really run it with a business and do fucking and do dark psychology and use this for advertising, which is what they do basically.
Right. Yeah.
um they study humans enough to be able to sell you something at every second of your life, you know.
Yeah, it's
So
on
but
TV and
this is
shit. Yeah.
it's cool to see this side. So right now I'm trying to do this study and I have to basically add up the questions because they all give me a certain number, right? And so they all have their own directions. Each survey has their own directions on how to follow it and how to take the scores and add them up. After I add up the scores, I have to list for it's a pedo. It's a
Yeah,
pedote,
I
dude.
bet.
So I have to add up these scores and I have to use Excel. Then I have to put it through another program, and that program tells me if there's a correlation. It gives me numbers. Basically, I feed it numbers, but I have to get these numbers organized before I put it in the computer. So it's a luckily I talked to my friend who's going to SDSU, and he's like, "Damn, bro, your teacher's making you do a fuck ton of work." And I was like, "Well,
Yeah.
in a way, dude," I was like, "In a way, bro, thank God, because now that I'm trying to get my master's degree and possibly the doctorate degree later down the line. But
Yeah.
Ooh.
if that's what I'm already headed that way. I'm already headed that way. So
Okay.
you know, and
Get
and
it.
well, I was talking about jobs, because he was like, "Well, what are you gonna do after you get your bachelor's degree?" Well, I was like, "For first off, I'm gonna go straight into the master's program. I'm not gonna go wait. I can't. I already
Yeah.
waited too long, Ya
Yeah.
tengo la viada. So the doctorates could be down the line way, but he's like, there's a lot of subbing jobs here. So I was it kind of came into my mind that I probably wouldn't want to be a sub. Be a really cool sub, dude. I was
Daniel
like,
the
cause he's
sub.
like, nah, I wouldn't want to. I was like, cause he was talking about I'll go to move to San Diego, and I said, damn, well, being a sub doesn't feel that bad, dude. I don't gotta I just go in there and just talk. I fucking yap all my life, dude.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
Yeah.
how
yapped
much?
all my life, so
It would be a
shit's
sub for
fucking
what? Like a sub
for high
for
school, for elementary,
but anything, or just like
anything.
one thing in general? Oh, okay.
Just a sub, so you can go for a teacher and get your
Because
like
they already
how
have
they had a
the
teacher come in.
like when the sub they go in, they already have like the what they're gonna talk about.
Hmm.
It's just notes,
Yeah.
and it's pretty basic information. It's not like it's all complicated. So
Hmm.
damn,
Yeah, but
bro,
my thing
substitute
And
is,
teacher. Yeah.
yeah, my thing is, like, as a substitute teacher, you need to go to school for that, right? So what you're doing right now in school classifies you as to be a substitute.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Psychology,
I didn't know.
psychology covers a lot of things, but you can be a sub after a bachelor's degree, I believe. Yeah, but it could be in any subject. They
Oh,
just want to
wow.
know that
Okay.
you passed school. Basically, that's all school is, man. Do you stuck to something so much, dude? Because
Yeah,
your
yeah.
school won't ever guarantee you a job. That's a
It's about
fact.
discipline.
You
That's
know?
all it is, discipline.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have the
So like,
discipline to get something done 4 years. That's it.
yeah, for 5 and stick around and take shit. You know, because you take a lot of shit as a student,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I was like, all right, dude, that's pretty cool to be a subs here. Meanwhile, I get my master's degree, and after that, I would like to the end goal would be to be a teacher at like IVC, and then part time teacher, and then part time a therapist, but my with hopefully be able to do it over the computer because I
Yeah.
plan to have a family and stuff, so that'd be cool.
That's
Family,
cool. That's
man.
good.
Family
So,
man, huh?
as a therapist, what's your goal there? Like, you want to be a therapist for
Work.
the common folk, or do you want to be a therapist for people in rehab, or do you want to be a
Well,
therapist something specific?
that's where this could take me. I don't know. I have a lot of discovering to do.
Yeah.
That's going to be part of my bachelor's degree, which is kind of doing a lot more discovering of where I want what demographic I want to not what demographic I want to work with. But for right now, it's I'm getting that Chicano studies minor so that I can direct my work towards colored people.
No. Okay.
Kids of immigrants, maybe that could work with schools. I could even be working at the prisons, like juvenile hall. That would be cool. But I'd have to get my therapist license so that I don't get contracted by, let's say, behavioral health. I could do my own contracts. I don't want to get contracted
Okay.
by any of those people
No,
unless
hell no.
I have to.
Yeah.
I already did it once. Worked there once, and I kind of got the impression that the clinicians down there are pretty stacked with fucking work.
Yeah.
No
Well,
unions too, dude. No unions. No fucking unions.
Yeah.
No unions in that type of work, You nurses, all that type of work, teachers, they need unions because they provide a service that's like really hard to measure the work. Because how do you what? You pay me for an hour, but I'm not just doing that work of an hour. I'm getting all of your information, and I'm fucking going to my office, and I'm going through all the information that I wrote about you, all your case, and I'm constantly having to think about you probably for another hour, probably for some more time, to be able to direct your life, because this is your life, bro. I could give you some fucked up advice.
Yeah. Exactly.
Don't worry about it, bro. It's all gonna go away.
Yeah.
You
Ivan, did you have something?
Yeah, I was gonna tell Danny we're gonna open a training center where we're gonna have a therapist, but with what we're gonna call a sports therapist. That's gonna be you, Danny. How
Oh, okay.
helping people. You know what I mean?
Oh shit. Yeah, and that's also like something else that I've always wanted to do, is to be able to integrate all of that stuff into one center, because they just put you like behavioral health, right? They just put you in there and they're like, all right, here's this and that. Imagine if you were a sick person and you fucking went and you got right, and then you went back and your house is still filled with all those germs. You're gonna get sick again, dude. You need to change all of it. All of it is fucked up.
the
Your whole little system that you got going on has led you. They told me in rehab, every single fucking decision that you guys have made has led you to this part. So leave that fucking cool guy, I know everything out, because all your fucking greatest decisions led you here. Fucking bumming it. So
Yeah.
déjate a mamás, and you need to change.
I got a question for you, Daniel.
Yeah.
So, from someone that's coming out of rehab, I know a lot of people that come out of rehab don't study psychology. What made you want to study psychology? That's one question. And have you, as you study psychology, as you going through it, did you see where you went wrong in life? Like through your studies? Like, do you see like, oh, that explains why I did this.
Yeah.
That explains why I did that.
It comes to a point where I gotta shut it off, dude. And it comes to a point where you have to learn how to shut your mind off with the whole psychology shit, because it can be too much for you and yourself, to analyze everything to its deeper meaning. So you can go kind of like, all right, chill out. You could go in kind of superficial level. So, Can you repeat the question again? My bad.
So, did rehab, like you coming out of
Okay.
rehab and you went through all that stuff?
Okay.
Is that
Yeah,
why
yeah,
you're doing
yeah.
psychology, or is there a
Okay,
different
no.
reason?
Well, okay. I wanted to be a pilot. I've always wanted to be a pilot.
Mhm.
That's something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
But you get to a point in life to where you start thinking about fulfilling work,
Yeah.
really fulfilling work, and you realize that some places of work would just be fun in an idea, you know,
Mhm.
and also getting in trouble with the law also messed up what a lot of the things that I was doing. I didn't want to get I guess there was financial means to getting a pilot's license,
Mhm.
and there was other problems that I thought I had with my eyesight and stuff like that. So there was just stuff that drove me away from that. And then after I landed in rehab, there was a higher calling about a thing that I had in me that I needed to share with everybody else, because you feel that you have this, let's say, a facility easiness to bring out weird ideas that you have to go through things to be able to comprehend, you know. And so
Mhm.
I feel like I'm sitting in on top of this chest with gold coins, and I can give them out, you know.
Yeah.
And so if I could give them out and help other people live a way better life, and not go for a job like piloting planes, which is great, it's fun, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I wouldn't ever get my pilot's license later. I would definitely do that as a hobby. Oh, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
fuck yeah. But for me, it would probably be a lot more fulfilling every single day to know that I have different cases, and I'm able to recognize patterns a lot. I've always able to recognize patterns, and I always had a facilitation to understand what was going on when the adults were communicating. And so that's what came easiest to me is how people communicate and how people share emotions and what I felt. And that's what I knew. And today, after I went through everything that I went through, I realized that, okay, this is probably the easiest thing that I could do, and it's something that I
Mhm.
know how to do, and I could live a good life using those talents that I've gotten on recognizing patterns. And I could recognize patterns in people or recognize patterns in things. And I think that's a part of the ADHD. So that's also been it's a symptom of seeing connections all the time. All the time, my brain is like working to see a connection between this and this.
Oh,
So it's good to
okay.
be able to use that. Like, hey, you were talking about something you did and something you thought. How do you think that ties into this current action that you're doing? You know, and be
Yeah.
able to tie that into someone when they're just telling me things, and they're like, I'm like kind of like computer reading what they're saying, you know, a live computer
Okay.
reading what they're saying and all the information they're giving me, and find connections into their form of thought and show them how their thought process works, and be like, hey, this is how you think, just so you know, I'm just
Mhm.
helping you look at the way that you think, your thought process. You have a negative action, you tell yourself something negative, you do this, and this is your cycle. So you want to decide right now if you want to change or not,
Mm.
you know. I'm showing
Yeah.
you this, but I can't do anything for you.
Okay.
But we could also supplement it with a good workout, you know, and all that stuff, and
Oh yeah,
Okay.
this
That's
is
where
where all
Yvonne
those
comes in.
things tie in. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
That's
But
good.
that's
So
what
you,
led me.
yeah, so you want to, help people basically
Yeah, yeah,
at the
but
end of the day.
not just help people, because you could help people by being an ambulance driver. You could help
Yeah.
people by being a firefighter. But I want to help people with something that is more abstract. It's a lot more difficult, because I don't think a lot of people get out of their own addictions, or get out of their own ways of thinking, you know?
Yeah.
Because some people want proof. Some people want fucking proof that that your methods are what works. Well, listen, dude,
Yeah.
I was fucking smoking tweak and fucking I was smoking meth and heroin at the same time, out of a broken pipe in God knows where in Chicali, you know? If I can go down really, really far, then anybody can do it, you know?
And I think those are the best people for the job, at the end of the day. Like, do you want someone training you who's been fit all their life and they were since they were 8, they've been lifting and they've been working out and everything? Or do you want somebody that was fat at some point and they fucking lost the weight and they went through the fucking hard process? I'm not saying, working
Yeah,
out
yeah,
since you
yeah,
were 8 isn't hard,
yeah.
but you've been where I've been, right? You've been in the seat where you were 20 years old and 240 pounds, and then you
Hmm.
just fucking drilled in and went to work and burned it off, and then you kept it, you maintained it. I'm like, oh, okay, I'd rather have that guy because he knows what I'm feeling. The other guy that's been fit his whole
Yes.
life and was born with muscles basically and just kept doing it. He doesn't know what it feels like to be 240 pounds. He hasn't been through my pain. He's gonna tell me what
And
I have to do. But and same as you, as you've been through the bad stuff. You went through the stuff, you've been through the system, you've been to rehab. So when you go and tell these people like, hey, like, I
yeah,
feel you. Like, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're
yeah.
going through. They're like, nah, you don't do, bro. I know. Trust me, I know.
I
You know.
know, I know.
So
And it's the same way as Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, he was not you. They forget that these people were not grand people. He was person
yeah,
of the
yeah,
town, and he went through certain things, and the story goes he came to be a man, and he came to live the life of a man because God himself could not come to this dimension.
yeah,
Something too great of being, let's say. So a good shaman, a good healer knows how to. Every community has had a healer. All communities have healers. All families have healers. These healers are present in Native American tribes. They're present in the church. When there was healers in the church, when you would go to the Catholic Church, that was like their hospital. And so
yeah,
there's people who can do this kind of work. And they gave an example the other day. A good healer knows how to get dirty and goes into the dirt and bring out whoever to a certain point where they're able to realize where they're at, and then clean yourself and then continue on with your life. you
yeah,
know
yeah.
because
It's like,
how do you because I wrote an essay about all the bad things that could happen, which is getting tired of fucking hearing people all day complain.
yeah,
Mhm.
Because there's all that tiredness. People are
yeah,
giving their loads of things all day, and you need to learn how to deflect them and kind of have empathy and know when to cut it and
yeah,
go home. Same with
Mhm.
cops and stuff.
yeah. What I was gonna say, it's kind of like the movie Gladiator, or like seeing like kings of that era. Like, you're a king, right? You do destruction. Your son sees you do destruction. They were raised in money, and they're up
Mm-hmm.
next to be king. What are they going to do? Destruction.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they know. But, when you get a peasant or somebody that's lived in the bottom, lived in the trash, and they get the opportunity to be king, say for some default reason, when they become king, they're not going to do destruction because they saw what the destruction does. So they're just, they're for the people, help the people. And that's kind of like what you're doing in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, basically. And tough times make good leaders, but also like David. King David is a prime example of someone who got lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
Where he was no one. He was a kid when he got his first big break, when he killed Goliath,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and he was supposed to be no one, and all of a sudden he became a handsome king. And because he became a handsome king, and because he became someone of a figure of authority, he started committing fuck you started doing fucked up things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killing, getting a general's wife, getting a general killed so that he could take his wife because he saw her showering.
Damn.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not religious. I don't go to church all the time, but this book has some good themes, on what
Yeah.
it
Right.
is, on how it is to come become good again after being in a position that was non-favorable for you, not forgetting about your past completely, because we're tainted by nature.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think humans can be corrupt by nature if you don't go back to that place every once in a while to be grateful. You know?
And I think God tests a lot of people in that way too. Puts them in a position, of power or leadership. I don't want to say power because I think nobody is in a position of power, but a position of leadership, and you either go left or you go right, right? Either you do the right thing or you turn into this powerful being and you're like, oh, I can get away with this because I'm big. I can get away with this because I'm rich, right? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and
That's
it's
what I have
crazy.
a fear. That's what one of my fears. And I think that comes from fear of your own success, because you start saying, well, maybe I don't need success because maybe it'll bring all sorts of other problems. Because like, with money comes other things. Women
Yeah,
start to notice you more. They'll
it's
start to
funny
pay
you
attention
said
to
that.
me more. you know and they're like, you get to a position, like you see a lot of boxers, you see a lot of rappers, people that get famous. Or I'm not saying I'm gonna get famous, but just
Yeah,
saying that it's careful to where you take your success. We don't
yeah,
don't also let it get because I feel myself also getting too inside of my head about certain successes. But um like, don't forget, don't que no se te olvide where you're coming from, because then in a moment you could fucking make a dumb decision, like commit adultery or fucking
mm,
commit tax fraud. Dude, ruin your life. I've seen people fucking ruin their, like, I mean, like I was saying, King David, does a atrocious thought for another woman so he could have another wife, and
hmm
and like, and those are real deal things. Those are real life things. You've seen males throw away their whole households, and lose over one decision,
yeah.
and so
It's
and so.
yeah, it's funny you said that thing because I've had that thought in my head, like like I said, like God didn't make me wasn't I wasn't born in a rich family because God maybe thought I couldn't handle it, or I haven't made a lot of money and hit success in anything that I've tried because God wants me to not lose myself in that fame or fortune, and then like you have, like you just said, you can't think that way because then you're just dragging yourself down. But I never thought of that. I never thought of dragging myself down. I think it was just like an excuse, like, oh,
No,
I don't want
it's
to be rich
fear.
because I'm gonna get lost in fucking, the world.
It's fear
You
of
know?
succeeding, because
Yeah.
we've been losing so much. We've lost so much that we think that if we win, it'll be bad for us. It's a
Yeah.
fucked up way of thinking, dude. I fucking find myself thinking like this all the time, man. Like,
Yeah.
hey, dude, like, do I really want to do this? Like, do I really want to get straight A's? Come on, man. Come on, dude. Like, what
Yeah.
what do you fucking, que porque no, que porque sí, because
Yeah.
my mom was there, because she was there, there's always gonna be something to fucking complain about. Even in my own head, because the fucking sun came out because it didn't come out, you know?
One
Yeah.
thing I've had to battle with myself is not having that state of mind like you're saying, where it's all gonna come crashing down, because I've been blessed with a wonderful life so far, and with a great wife. And sometimes I have that mentality like, wait, when the fuck is this gonna come crashing down? Like, when
Yes.
when I've lived with that mentality all of my life. Obviously I've gotten better, and
Yeah.
now my mentality is totally different, but there's still that, those times like, why do I deserve this? What the fuck did I do? I mean, there's so many people suffering out here, and I
Yeah.
have a great wife, I have a niece, another niece on the way, great family, great support system. And so, and that in turn helps me be more grateful for what I have and live in that moment, especially living, coming up here to Eureka. I've had a lot of reflection, and a lot of reflection on what's important, what's not important, what should I prioritize, so it can benefit me and my family and all of us as well. So it does, but those thoughts do come in, because you're like, what the fuck? This is going so good. Especially, things are kind of, lately they've kind of just kind of fallen into place for me when I've done the work, of course. But it's weird how
Yeah.
it's kind of coming together when at the time before I didn't fucking see it. I wanted to give up. I was like, fuck, man, what the fuck, this happens or this happens, but you just got to keep going and going and going, and it'll come out. So,
Yeah. Like sometimes I get lost in, this podcast too, The
hmm
reason why we started it was to have these conversations as brothers,
yeah, hmm
And if we could help someone, then cool. But sometimes I get lost in the I don't have enough views, I don't have enough likes. I feel like I'm reaching for something that I that's not why I started this for.
hmm
And I have to bring myself back, and Daniel helps me
Mm-hmm.
too. I bring myself back down to earth, and I'm
hmm
like, okay, it doesn't matter if 5 people see it
yeah,
and
if it
5
helps
people
one
listen to
person.
what we said, and one person takes it into consideration about Daniel going to rehab, or me having my issues or Ivan, going through his deals and they're going through something similar, then it is what it is. That's all right.
Yeah.
We're doing this for us. We're not doing this for nobody else. And I just gotta think that in my brain a
And
lot.
at the end of the day, adding to that is that the your hometown and your home area are going to be the last people to support you. That's just the
yeah.
way it is. And
Yeah.
because
of course, yeah.
and it's nothing ever personal. It's nothing personal at all. But that's just, I mean, that's just how this shit goes. And ni que nice agüite, fuck it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know that we're good people. We ain't celebrities, and that's that. And it's a good experience from everything. For something to go down, like for an idea, typically your first idea is gonna be shitty. That's just the way it is. First ideas are always going to be shitty, but you need somewhere to build on. You need something to build on. And then after you build something, you realize, I don't want it that way. And you tear it down. But at least you know how the fuck you can go and where you can go and how to build it. Even if you already
Yeah.
tore it down, where you already had an idea of what not to do. And so you could do that instead of just thinking of, oh, it could be this way, and then you don't do anything. Because
Yeah.
I've been caught in that form of thought.
And that's why
when
we're
I was
doing
making
this
music.
And that's why we're doing this
Mhm.
podcast, so we can keep practicing. Because you don't learn something. I didn't learn how to train overnight. You got to do them and do them and do them. I know
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
I've been in the boat. We're like, do we really have
Sometimes
to do this? But no, we have to
Yeah.
do it. Like, it's because we don't. I know we need to learn how to talk more, and we're getting there. We're learning, when we're actually together, when we're actually physically together, how to talk.
Yeah,
We're getting
for sure.
better. It's it's a process, but we talk more here, which is great. If we wouldn't have started this, it wouldn't have helped our relationship being close together.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think. So it's
Yeah.
but there's been those times where, believe me, we're like, the podcast, but no, but I'm changing my attitude. Hey, let's
Yeah.
do it. It's practice.
Yeah.
It's gonna better us.
And then also it's like you go onto a podcast, you see something you like, and you go and you realize they've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
And then you realize, you go as a fan and you realize, damn, look at the first episodes, and then look at the second episodes, and then look at the setup gets crispier and crispier and crispier.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you got people hitting you up wanting to do it, but it's like it's all little by little, fucking, especially when you got a bunch of shit going on in your own life and stuff like that. But if you can keep, like when I got back from Florida, I didn't have any degrees. I didn't have any money to my name. I had shitty credit, and I didn't have a lot of things, and then good amount of time has passed already, and it's been probably like 3 years, and I'm about to graduate with some associate degrees and the 3.9, and I volunteered at the juvenile hall for a while. I worked at different places. I got a better job. I even worked at the county, realized that it wasn't for me, left.
Yeah.
And damn, you would have told me that. You would have told me that when my ex broke up with me, dude. I would have been like, bruh,
Yeah.
you're shitting me, man. And then I realized, I look in the mirror, and then I look at myself, and I'm skinny fat. And I was like,
Oh, bro,
damn,
it's the
dude,
worst, bro.
I felt like I spent my life chasing a tail, and kind of playing house, and I realized to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And so I was like, damn, I realized, I was like, damn, dude. And then to top it all off, I'm trying to get sober and shit, and I'm trying to learn how to live, and how to I guess stay sober for a while, and then because you have times where you fucking loc out, and then all of a sudden, all your work, you feel like you're like, damn. You're gonna feel in your progress, you're gonna feel like you went back.
Yeah.
In every, I don't know, and it's a funny fucking way of progress, because progress will always take you back, and it's like a little spiral where you feel like you're coming back, but you're actually going up because you're learning from that if you don't give up. And it's a really strange fucking equation that takes when you're trying to get better. Because there's been times in this whole process where I felt that I was regressing, but then I just shoot up more. And I'm like, damn, instead of giving myself so much shit about it, I just focused on fucking working towards getting better. if I had a fall or if I had something, you know, instead of fucking getting the whip and whipping myself like, fuck, now this is ruined, now this is ruined, now this is ruined. It's like, man,
Yeah.
I've already gone through this shit so many times that I'm like, beating myself over it is the last thing that I can do now, because that's just fuck. It's ridiculous. It gets to a point in my mind where I'm like, this is ridiculous, dude. I can't be afraid of death my entire life, or I can't be afraid of these things. They're holding me back, you know, and that's why I end up using, or that's why I end up regressing in my own patterns.
Mm-hmm.
But after I recognized that part of the process was regressing in a way you feel like regressing, and then I was like, I was a lot more comfortable, you know. And now I'm like, okay, even if something bad happens, well, at least I'm not in the position that I was before, and I have a good family, and nobody's gonna the world isn't gonna fucking end tomorrow, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
It's funny. It's
like
funny that you said that, bro. It's funny that you said that, bro, because when when especially drug addicts, like if they fall off, you know, if they use again, I think they take it like too hard on themselves, and sometimes, you know, they take it too far, and when
and
when
they
it's
take
kind
it
of like
way
they
far.
should, you know, they should just kind of, like you said, you know, they should just be able to kind of, okay, I fucked up, it's not the end of the world, and we have another chance, as long as I'm alive, you know what I mean, as long as I can OD or some shit like that. I don't get why. Maybe because they, you know, the power of the drug that's controlling them or whatnot, they don't, you know, kind of use that like you did, you know, to benefit, instead of like, fuck, you know, my life is over because I fucking fucked up and used and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of the time, dude. You ask me what's the difference of you and a lot of other people, and I think I wouldn't be able to give you a straight answer, but it was something. Okay, it was a willingness in me to live normally.
Yeah, well, that's what you need. The willingness comes from you. Yeah.
Because I was thinking about it right now when you were asking me, because I would always say I can't do it without my family, and yes, that's 100% true.
Well, it's important.
But think about your web of support is really important, but think about how many people have a web of support.
How many don't?
Chingar a su madre, dude. They got fucking family willing, dude. They got parents loaded with money, and they're like, dude, I could start you up a business right now. Even if you did that, the addict wouldn't want. So that's what it comes down to, and that's what they say, is that you could never change your life for someone else. You'd have to have at least a minimum desire to change, just a minimum, and that minimum will grow. Trust me, you know. But all you have to have is a minimum of change. If you don't believe it, then that's it. But if you have an ounce of belief, faith, if you have an ounce of faith, you know, just to believe that maybe one day you'll be able to live normally again. And that's all I used. It's just a hope. It's just a little ounce of hope that said, maybe I'll be able to live a normal life again. And dude, I would go back in time and tell myself, I fucking told you so, you depressive fuck. Get up, dude, wash your ass, man. You fucking smell. You know, get up, fucking wash your nuts, bro. It stink.
Bro,
you know, and get up. It's gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. You know, and now I'm like, but it's just fucking little. It's so slow because you can destroy it all in a second. You can destroy it all in a second, bro, and get a bag and fucking go and wild out. And then to rebuild that is fucking so much time. So it gets to a point where you're like,
it's just like people, you know, like who people like when they're younger, like they start, you know, eating bad, and then when they're older, like they want to change their lives, like, you know, that all that damage took a while, so they want to come back and fix that damage, and, you know, really quick. But no, it's gonna take a while.
Hijo de tu puta madre, usaste crico como por 15 años y que en unos 3 meses estás bien. En unos 3 meses, no, que ya no tengo nada, ¿Cómo no? Pues sí, cabrón. 16 years of your life, baby. 7 years, 10 years, you know? Hey, and then previous, when because it wasn't just 15 years that you were living like you were a dirtbag way before that.
Yeah, because of the trauma. Yeah, of course.
You were a dirtbag way before that, man. Like, don't get it twisted.
Oh my god, good conversation. So let's go to what's hot in the streets. What do we got?
Let's see.
Guy.
Let's see.
I know. We'll start with Ivan since
Okay.
Danny's gonna go through his phone.
Donnie, you gotta be prepared,
Is
bro.
it
Well,
the
no, you know,
K-
just everybody knows this fucking story. The Katy Perry, you know, coming, she became an astronaut. You know, a group of you know, female astronauts. You know, pioneers in their field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nah, so I think I
The-
saw in the news, but no,
I think
from what
the real question is it real or not, right?
no,
I don't
okay,
fucking
okay.
believe it.
So what happened is they went high, right? Basically, they went to
Yeah.
the point where the line is of the atmosphere before you know, not outer space, but just they were in
Yeah.
space, but not, you know, outer space. Because
Yeah, they were
if
pretty
you go
high up
outer
there.
space, in order to come back, you know, all that heat and all those forces they'll fucking destroy if they don't have the protective layers that they put on it to come back into the
Yeah.
Earth's atmosphere. So they went near it. They didn't go, you know, over it, that line. They went near
Yeah.
it. So they didn't go high enough. But they technically did go into space, but not outer space. So, you know, that's why they didn't look you know, like that. That's why that space capsule wasn't burned and all that. You know, they were talking about, oh, the damage, you know, it should have been damaged, but they didn't go high enough. So
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
that's
So
what
I see that point of view.
Mhm.
You know, because that's what I thought at first, that they just didn't go high enough. They just, you
Yeah.
know, they went pretty high
Mhm.
and they come back down.
but not astronaut.
But
yeah.
then I questioned myself, like, if you were Katy Perry, you had a family, you had all this going for you, would you risk that trip? It's kind of like, would you risk going in that submarine underwater, you know, to see the Titanic?
Well, I don't know.
That's the way I look
listen,
at
I'm
it.
paranoid.
I would definitely go in that submarine. Hell no. I
Watch,
would go in the ship.
watch.
But not,
Because
know what I
I'm
would
putting
think?
Go ahead, Daniel.
I think if I'm in a position of power, especially here in America, if you have a position of power like that and someone wanted to shut you up, well, listen, I'll fucking put something in that fucking, I'll make it look like an accident. If it's worth it, if it's worth of my time, I'm going to make it look like an accident and I'm going to kill you, get rid of you. So, so that's how I'm paranoid. That's how I think, man.
Yeah. But like to get in a rocket and get shot up, like so much can go wrong. Like think about it. So much can go wrong.
Yeah, Elon Musk has said. He said on Joe Rogan. He said they're gonna blow up. Like it had happened. They're gonna blow up. But that's more of when they're testing them, because you know, they test them to see how much pressure, you know, what the boundaries are on each craft. So they are gonna explode. But no, it's jet fuel going at, you know, fucking however hot it is. It's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? It could blow up.
Yeah.
You're
A
right.
lot of pressure in the atmosphere you have to break through.
But when you got money,
So
you got fucking, you know, Jeff Bezos is your fucking friend. I mean, what the fuck, you know, what are you gonna do? You can only do so much in the world. You can only see a lion, so you can only see a beach so many times. You know what I mean? I mean, at least not to us, regular folk. I'm talking about in that.
I need something more than just weed.
I need space. You know?
Same shit.
Ivan, you think it was real? They just didn't go that high. They came down, and the door thing was kind of like just like they wanted to do a show out of it, like.
Yeah,
you know,
they wanted to they wanted to, you know, make. But you know what? My question is: was it supposed to open outward the whole time, or it was just supposed to open inward, but they opened it at the wrong time? That's what I didn't. But they fucked up on opening anyway. But
yeah, I'm not a scientist, but they said that when something is pressurized like that, usually once they close that door, you can't open it from the inside.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's what
you have.
Okay,
you have to open it from the outside. But then if they didn't go as high as outer space, then maybe
it wasn't as pressurized.
A variable, you know. So they could have opened the door from the inside, like an aircraft, like an airplane.
I don't know.
But then they're just saying that they just wanted to do a show out of it, so Jeff Bezos could open the door and make it look like, oh, you know, I'm gonna open the door for them, and that's where they messed up.
Just wild girls having fun, you know, they're having the time of their lives now.
Daniel, do you think it's real? You think it was all real?
Dude, because I never believe it. I never believe anything anymore, bro. The psyop work, dude. I don't believe shit.
And if Space Force, bro, you don't believe in the Space Force,
dude,
bro?
To the point that if I started seeing a fucking alien ship, I'll be like, these motherfuckers are trying to believe me it's aliens, and they want me to believe that they want me to run a truce with these aliens, and it's probably them controlling them the whole time. This is a fucking hologram,
bro. It's our fucking aircraft and.
It's a prop from Independence Day and shit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, but I'm not. It's really hard for me to believe it now. I don't know. It's a lot of fucked up.
Remember the aliens? They were stinky too. Remember Will Smith? He was like, "Why? What is that smell?" No hygiene.
Stinky.
Remember he
No
punches him, kicks
hygiene.
him.
Yeah, he kicks him more. Fuck.
Cut classic. Daniel, what you got? What's next?
Uh, preparing for powerful winds, Chinese officials canceled hundreds of flights and advised millions to stay indoors, warning people under 110 pounds they could be easily blown away.
Petites or what?
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
no
The
petites
Anasitas
out,
of the
man.
world or what?
It's
My mom
crazy, dude.
tired to
Dogs
stay
will
home.
fly away then. Dogs and animals will be flying away.
Oh man, where's fucking?
But were they trying to scare people, or were there actually winds that strong?
Nah, yeah, military millions told. Yeah, dude, there's winds that strong. It says millions have been urged to stay indoors. State media that people weighing less than 50 kilograms may be easily blown away.
It's all that pollution they're doing,
Winds-
bro. Fucking weather change. See, climate change. bro.
Winds-
It's change.
Yeah, winds reaching 93 miles per hour
God damn.
are expected to sweep the woman.
Jesus Christ.
It could be that they are fighting war, you know, with the tornadoes or the fighting wars with weather.
Tornadoes
Oh,
and
you
communism,
think it's
bro.
like, you think it's like naturally built? Well, not
Yeah,
naturally.
some like they're the
manufactured
hurricanes that they were
winds?
talking about, and then them fucking conspiracy theories. I get paranoid, dude. I like to imagine maybe that's what they're doing.
Maybe
I don't
because
know.
have there been winds?
Oh
that-
yeah, they control the
Yeah.
weather. Oh yeah,
No,
yeah.
I
They
know.
have
I,
stuff.
I
Bill
believe
Gates, he
that.
fucking putting shit
I
in
know
there.
they've done shit with that, but I'm saying like, has there been like natural 93 mile per hour winds
Yeah.
besides like I know hurricanes, but just like a wind, just wind by itself?
Let's see.
I
I
wonder
don't
how
think there
much.
has.
You know, right there, in Rancho Cucamonga on the 15, you see semis tilted to the side. I wonder how strong those winds are.
Yeah.
It's because when they're empty. My dad said
Yeah.
when you're empty, you have to be careful with your trailer because it doesn't have anything to hold it down. And also if it'll start swaying. Also if you're at a certain angle, all the wind will just fucking hit it at a certain
Yeah, because that
But it has to
happens
be
on
pretty strong,
Ocotillo.
right? The wind, no?
But it happens in Ocotillo often, like
Yeah,
going up the grade to
Ocotillo.
San Diego.
Yeah.
People
And,
pulling
the
their-
winds aren't no fucking 90. I mean,
No.
I think
Oh,
they're
okay.
like 40 maybe. So
I think I could tell. I'm a little more drunk, probably, on the pedos way. So talking about the
No,
trailers, the
like
off-road
people don't know
trailers.
how to drive RVs, and they'll
Tampoco,
they'll
yeah.
brake.
Yeah.
You're supposed to let go of the gas and kind of let it even out on its own before you even press or stop.
Yeah.
Or you actually have to press on the gas sometimes too, so you could kind of straighten it out.
like when you skid, when you have to brake hard so you don't skid,
Yeah.
just ease into it. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But
something
China,
like that.
huh?
Damn,
China's
bro.
fucking doing they created
Yeah.
that fucking the creature storm, bro, from the X-Men and shit. That's what's going on, bro.
All right, Daniel, what you got?
There's another one. Oh, they're deploying a military to the border.
Oh, to
Oh
the
yeah, I
border,
saw that.
bro.
Papi
They're
Trump.
militarizing it.
But what do they want
heavily.
the military to do? What's the purpose?
They're like outright stopping anybody who's crossing any cartel, and they're really cracking down on it now.
So basically, they're
they used
doing
to
with
let it-
Border Patrol times 100.
Yeah.
Because Border Patrol can only patrol so much. And think about it this way. Sometimes you can't even trust the Border Patrol.
Nah.
So
Vendido.
sometimes agencies
that.
can't trust each other sometimes. So it's
También,
like
yeah.
it's like in Mexico sending the big man to do the when the military starts fighting the cartel, which is what's going on right now. And
Yeah.
it gets to a point where you're not going to send the police, or
It's too much.
police are in on it too.
También.
So
Because of that
It's
shit.
just
basically, the
somebody
military are
above,
just gonna
above that.
catch all the illegals now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pretty much. And you think
Well, that's
you think we'll ever go into
I
actual
don't think they
Mexico?
will. I
Oh.
don't think they will.
Okay, look. So they were talking about it.
Because Trump wants
Trump
to.
was talking about it. Trump wants to, and so
wants
they
to.
Ecuador already invited the military down there, the U.S.
Ah.
military.
Mm.
Uh huh.
Yeah, but that's
And
Ecuador.
so,
I don't,
but
go ahead.
I think that they run a risky game. They're gonna have to do underground operations. They're
Yeah,
not
like
gonna
a-
do
yeah,
at scale
always.
because if they were to, I thought about it this, if they were to hit a drone strike and they kill another kid,
Yeah.
Then they're gonna have sympathizers.
Oh yeah.
And then you're gonna see people from the far left start to fucking say, "Oh, but they're bombing and they're doing this and they're doing that," and because where do they hide? They hide amongst their people, and they're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
use. They're terrorists at the end of the day. What do terrorists do? They use people to. They use crimes to induce fear,
Like
and that's
damn
what they've been
Hezbollah,
doing.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, you can't do what you do overseas with your neighbors. You know, you can't go in there and start a war with, like Danny said, you can't go in there and start a war with the cartels
Too many.
because it's going to lead to a firefight. Cartels aren't going to put their shit down, bro.
Mm-hmm.
These motherfuckers are dirty, raunchy. I mean, they have their
But-
own militaries, bro.
But if you think
Basically,
about, well,
they're-
they're
They train in guerrilla
not-
warfare.
they do, and
They
we
train
shouldn't
guerrilla
underestimate.
warfare.
And they shouldn't underestimate. But
Uh-huh.
the capabilities are just they're not the same. Especially if we were to send like Delta Boys over there and stuff like that. It's
No,
just,
I agree.
we have to
I agree
stop
that the
them now,
U.S. will
though.
probably win. Like,
think
I'm not
there's more
saying that
to
they
it.
won't, but I'm saying is you're starting a war in Mexico, basically, and casualties are going to happen.
Right.
And when
Oh,
that
yeah,
happens,
yeah, oh,
like
yeah.
Daniel
It's
said,
war. Yeah.
it's going to create more problems. Mexico
Yeah.
doesn't want that, so Mexico doesn't want to let them in because of that problem. You know, it's
So
going to
it's
create
either they
casualties.
fix it. I think it's gonna get to the point where either they fix it because the cartel they found operations of them having labs in Africa. They found intels of them. They're expanding, bro. Their shit is going to the top. They're
But you know
they're
what?
operating outside.
You know, I realized I answered my own question. No, he's not gonna go there because the drug war will never end. There's too much profit in it. I don't know what the hell I was thinking about. So the cartels they're still gonna run regardless of if we're gonna. I think like you said, it's gonna mellow itself out, and because there's too much profit in it. You know what I mean? On both sides.
I think, on both sides. That's what I was gonna say. On both
Yeah,
sides,
both
I think
sides. Yeah, yeah.
the
Come
same.
on.
I think it's a threat. I think it's a threat from
I do.
know, and I
To
can
us,
see him
to us.
doing that.
To the
Well-
regular people,
well,
yes.
No, yeah, but I'm saying like I think Trump is threatening Mexico by saying all that stuff, like to get them to kind of regulate it a little bit and be like, you know what, all right,
He's
let me
just
drop
being
the foot a
himself.
little bit.
He's
Just
being himself.
let me
yeah.
drop the foot a little bit so this guy can relax. But yeah, at the end of the day, I don't think he's going. What else you got, Daniel?
So this was the Ecuador thing that I was talking about. President Daniel Noboa won re-election in Ecuador on an anti-crime platform focused on cracking down on gangs responsible for drug trafficking in the U.S. So it seems like they're letting in troops down there.
Okay,
So they're really trying to fight this war on more deeper south, I guess.
on the Ecuador
Or at
side.
least, at
Yeah.
least keep it away from our borders for now.
Because if
Yeah.
you stop it, there's a lot of ways that it comes in.
También, ¿no?
A lot of these networks.
No, well, yeah. I mean, I always watch the drug shows, and it's crazy. Like, there's one on net, I think it was on Hulu, to catch a smuggler, but it takes place in Puerto Rico. The guys that are on the boats catching the other boats and shit. And I mean, these guys are fucking coming different directions, like of the ocean into Puerto Rico. And you can see them going, and you can see them in the maps, and they kind of show the lines like where they go through. And I'm like, they're just coming. And Dom's like, oh, they catch one, and Dom's like, oh yeah, that's gonna hurt. They busted their. I'm like, Dom, they send dummy boats all the time. Like,
Yeah.
they
It's
know
a
they're like, it's an
constant.
organization. Like, they have their losses counted at the end of the
Yeah.
year.
Uh-huh.
They got
Just
the
like Costco.
profits. Yeah,
Yeah.
they got their profits, and they're gonna say, out of this, we're gonna lose 30 mil.
Yeah.
And we're good with that. Let's just keep going. Like, it's
They're
not
gonna make
hurting
fucking
them.
200 million shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's
Fucking
at the end of the day, they're not
kilos of this
doing
shit.
enough. You don't have enough resources to fucking just cancel this whole operation. It might
Make it
sting them a
legal.
little bit, but like any business, they have their losses and they're all accounted for. But yeah, Daniel, anything else?
Mm-mm.
Crickets.
Crickets.
Tickets. Shout out to Eureka,
Nothing.
California. Got that good pizza. Babe's Pizza.
Eureka. You went to Eureka for pizza.
Nah, hey, bro, I'm telling you, bro, has that Pizza Hut vibe, that old school Pizza Hut vibe. It's called Babe's Pizza, with the red
That
cups.
joint? Same joint.
It's that new joint.
Yeah. All right, Daniel, that's it.
Lab grown
Oh,
chicken, dude.
more.
You want some lab grown chicken? Would you guys
Nah,
ever
I'm
eat
all
any
set,
lab grown meat?
No.
Lab grown chicken.
If I'm starving, yes. But no,
If I'm
there's no
starving.
need. Yeah, come on. Go and go
It's
and
like-
go to the store. Let's not be lazy. Come
California
that just-
sues Trump, though.
on. For what?
For what?
California is suing the Trump administration over the economic consequences of President Trump's tariff policy, the first
I
state to
see.
do so. On Wednesday, California filed a lawsuit challenging Trump's invocation of the International Economic Powers Act, which is only invoked after a national emergency is declared.
Dang, so California is declaring national emergency on the price of huevos.
Yeah, look what they did to the damn state. Fuck.
Yeah.
Crazy.
California is arguing that the act was not warranted and that the power to levy tariffs is held by Congress, not the executive branch.
I don't know. We need tariffs.
Think so?
Yeah, but just it's raising. This is how from what I understand. If he raised it, other countries they give tariffs on us, right, for shipping
Yeah.
stuff out of the U.S. That's why a lot of people don't buy stuff from the U.S. because they don't want to pay the tariffs. But a lot of people from us, they want us to do the same and not do it to them. You know what I mean? So, but there's been reports where it's just more like political talk. It's like Obama said that shit when he was when he got hired, where when he was president, he was like, yeah, we have to raise tariffs because there's this and this, and it's the same thing. But just because it's it's the orange guy.
Yeah. Maybe it's the way he does it too.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't.
He does it in a way that doesn't seem too pleasing, or he goes on national TV and he does it, and other presidents kind of did it like, let's just send the tariffs, let's make the deals, and that's it, maybe we don't really know about it that much at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's just the way he is. I mean, if you as a businessman, if you go, you've talked to businessmen, people that own their own businesses, they have a little chip on the shoulder where they they don't deal with bullshit. They don't not that it's okay not for them to be narcissistic or whatever. Just they have their own the way they are because they're businessmen, and if they're not that way, then people would take advantage of them or whatever the case is. So another president, they've just act like puppets or the norm or whatever it is. Even Bill Maher said that he couldn't talk to he feels like he couldn't talk to Obama or fucking Kamala Harris like he could if he talked like when he talked to Trump, because he just felt that comfortable with him. He felt like that guy that it's that regular Joe Schmo that you go to the store with, like, hey, fucking eggs are expensive. Like, yeah, fuck. Whether he cares about us or not, I mean, that's he probably doesn't. At the end of the day, it's about him and his homies, which it's all political fucking guys.
Oh, Myanmar's ruling military junta declared a temporary ceasefire in the country's civil war as the death toll from Friday's devastating 7.7 magnitude earthquake passed 3,000, bro.
You said Myanmar?
Yeah, you remember we were watching the documentary?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Myanmar.
It was Burma before, right?
So,
Yeah, Burma.
It was Burma.
So they ceased fire because they had an earthquake, basically. Like, hey, nature fucked us up. Let's relax.
Yeah, but 3,000 of them died.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm
You see the buildings, how they were swaying, the water was just fucking coming down like it was like it was raining.
Yeah,
there was
the pools.
There was a crane operator on one of them. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
Oh yeah, he just.
But there's a fucking crane, and it and then there's a song playing. I'm 6 feet on the edge, and I'm sinking.
They made a meme out of it,
dude. Dude. I was like, what the fuck, bro? You get that feeling when you're free falling. Yeah, dude, it was fucked up. You get the feeling that you're free falling on your nuts a little bit. Oh, fuck.
Free falling on your nuts.
On in the rides where you get that
I think
funny
he's feeling a bit more than that, bro. But
bro,
he's like, fuck,
holding on to the rail. Fuck.
Yeah, but it's crazy that a natural disaster shows you to stop bullshitting. It's like God sending you a sign, like, oh, you think your motherfuckers are hard? I'll show you what's hard.
It's sad, it's sad that it takes a fucking a natural disaster for you to fucking stop with the bullshit. Just like what? I hope I hope we chill out with each other and start, but because like we only come together truly when there's like a tragedy. You know, other than that, we fucking just keep bickering and over bullshit. But other than when 9/11 happened, everybody was together, and now fucking everybody bickering
that's the
again.
world.
But hopefully not. I
that's the
mean,
world.
so we gotta chill out.
Yeah,
Smoke
chill
some
out,
weed.
love each other.
Yeah, smoke some weed.
That's
Happy
what I'm
420.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
Look at that. Danny wearing an official 420 shirt, huh, bro? Green.
Okay, that's it, Daniel. We're good.
Car imports.
Oh,
25% tariffs on car imports.
Oh, you see?
Will take effect on April 3rd, bro.
What do you mean? You see, that's gonna suck for us. We got to pay more for cars. They're already high as it is.
Oh, fuck.
It'll
You're
die out,
gonna have
man.
to buy
Just don't buy a
domestic,
car
no?
right now. It'll die out.
Just
Don't
don't
buy
buy
a
a
car.
car. Well, I wasn't
Chill out.
planning on it, but still.
Okay, see? There you
Buy
go. Y'all
domestic.
say-
No,
y'all see? But he
I'm
buy a
upset.
Chevy. There you go. No,
buy a
Ford.
Chevy. Pues. Te digo. Puras de esas.
That's right.
All right, guys. Let's get out of here. Let's spend Easter
All right.
with our
Happy
loved
Easter,
ones.
guys.
Whatever you're gonna do. Happy Easter to everyone. Spend
Se
time with
portan
your
bien.
families. Love
Love you
each
guys.
other. Tomorrow's
Show.
not promised.
That's right.
All right, guys. See you guys. Love you guys.
All right. Love you.
Peace. Love you guys
Peace.
too. Peace.
Got drinks, got smoke, got weed, got all the girls, got everything we need. And I see them all. But who brought the fat girl? Drink another, smoke another, get retarded. I know this where the party is, so get this bitch started. And if you want some liquor, girl, you can go and lick a girl. Get it poppin' till like 6 in the morning.